Hello and welcome to the United Stand. I hope you're all doing really well. We are 48 hours away from the end of this transfer window, and Manchester United, as I was saying earlier, every indication is that their transfer business is done. Is that good? Is it bad? I think it's bad, but I've spoken about that before, and as you know, this week I'm away. I'm not in United Stand Studio Towers or whatever you want to call it. I'm away on holiday, so the interaction Skype shows aren't possible, so the interaction off the live comments definitely is. And what I want to know from you lot tonight, and we'll start reading about that, is your opinion on this transfer window, good or bad, and have the club backed Mourinho? I want to pick up on that in a few minutes. But first of all, there are a couple of things to report on. First of all then, Serge Aurier. Well, no, let's start off with Riyad Mahrez. Riyad Mahrez is obviously a player that Manchester United have been linked to, basically through a lot of you lot, really. I don't know what truth there is in this, but there was a report tonight, I think it was from France, saying that Manchester United and Jose Mourinho specifically would like to bring Riyad Mahrez to Manchester United, but there's not much appetite from the club itself. He wouldn't be cheap. He wouldn't be cheap, about £45 million, which again begs the question, why are we not just paying the 55 or 50 that Inter Milan want for Perisic, or, you know, or 45 that would probably get Draxler from PSG? It is questionable, but at this late stage, as I've said before, Riyad Mahrez was never really my sort of choice for a Manchester United winger, but he stood out against us last week in a very poor attacking Leicester performance. And at this very late stage, he's a winger. He's a Premier League winger, and he's proven in the Premier League. And he's better than every natural winger we've got in the squad at the moment. So I would take him. And as you well know, that the money doesn't really matter to me. Well, I suspect it's probably paper talk. I think Mahrez, just because the way he spoke to Pogba at the end of the game at the weekend, and United fans sort of looking around at options that we could get on the wing, I'd be very surprised if this Mahrez thing developed into anything concrete with 48 hours to go, unless we've been working on it quietly over the last few days, which I doubt. But yes, he's a player I would take at United. He's quick, he's skillful, he is very right-footed, and I know that doesn't solve the left-hand side problem, but I think quite rightly, as a lot of you have been saying since the game against Leicester, yes, we can say we need a natural left winger, but maybe we went down that avenue because we were thinking Perisic, who is a left winger. If you saw Manchester United play Leicester at the weekend, which most of you will have done, the big problem with crossing came from the right-hand side. Mata cannot cross with his right foot, and neither can Valencia, even though he's right-footed. So Mahrez on the right-hand side would actually solve a problem, and I think Luke Shaw, back fit, can solve a lot of the problems down the left-hand side. So yes, Mahrez is worth mentioning. I'd be very excited by the signing if it happened at this late stage. Any winger of quality would be welcome, especially, as I said, at lunchtime, when Liverpool seem adamant to spend up to 80 million on Lamar from Monaco, and it looks like Chelsea are bringing yet another winger in Oxlade-Chamberlain. And I just want to touch on that for a minute from my own personal point of view, before I talk about this Serge Aurier news, and that is that Chelsea are the champions of England. I don't think they'll be the champions this year. They were champions of England 2 years ago with Mourinho, who, funnily enough, is our manager now. A lot of the reasons that Chelsea have been champions 2 times in the last 3 years is because of their wing play. Whether it's Willian and Hazard, whether it's backup from the likes of Pedro, they have got really good wing play, and we don't. We don't have that. And I think there are some United fans who think, I mean, like the lad who said this afternoon, wing play is overrated, crossing's not that important. I think maybe we fall into that trap because we've become very bad at it. But certainly Leicester as well, with Mahrez when they won the league, winger. You know, wing play is not dead. Wing play is very important. I just don't think we see proper wing play at United probably for about 3 or 4 years now, since the days of Sir Alex, and which is ridiculous because we were the forebearers. We stood above everybody for wing play for many years, and it has sort of become a little bit extinct. But no, all I would say about that is, look at Chelsea. You know, they're signing Oxlade-Chamberlain, a winger. They've already got 3 very good wingers in Pedro, Willian and Hazard, and they're signing another one. Liverpool are absolutely filling their squad up with wingers. I don't think it's rocket science here. I think that in the modern game it's very important, and we're just not capable of doing it. And you know, I can't moan at Mourinho. I can't moan at Mourinho because he's highlighted it. For some reason, it's not happening. Dom99HD, you've just drawn me to this comment. He says, I can guarantee the Premier League is coming back to the Northwest now, and geography and our fees are going to be. Surprise signing, Mark, says Sushas. And I have confirmed news that Manchester United bid 93 million for Bale from Mohamed Fatty. So Mohamed says we've bid for Bale, so we must all believe it. Look, if we sign Bale, I'll happily take the L. We're not signing Bale. There we go. We're not signing him, so don't even believe it. 4 thoughts. This is not accurate. You've said Mahrez said he's staying at Liverpool according to a report 30 minutes ago. If he's staying at Liverpool, he's signed for them quick. Mahrez has had no motivation to play for Leicester. That's why he's been underperforming for them. He'd be quality for us. He was quality at the weekend, Alex McBride. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Let's talk about Serge Aurier next. Barring red tape, he's probably going to be a Spurs player very, very soon. But there was a report this afternoon, I think it was in the Mirror, certainly in a couple of outlets as well, that Aurier will sign for Spurs but would prefer to sign for Manchester United. Obviously, doesn't look like Manchester United are in for him. We were linked to him quite strongly, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? Did a couple of videos on him. Absolute beast of a right back, very, very strong mentality, good at crossing. And actually, I think when I did a show on your Aurier about 3 weeks ago, I'm not massive on stats, but you can look at certain stats and compare them to others. And we put Aurier against Valencia, against Fabinho, and against Kyle Walker right back stats, and Aurier came out on top. So Spurs are getting a very good signing. I think you're going to see a better right back than Kyle Walker there, and it's a shame. It's a shame we haven't gone for him, but Spurs can offer him first team football. We can't, and I suppose that is probably the motivation. But £24 million as well. Why do we never get bargains? Why can we never sort out a bargain for United? I mean, why does Levy always get it as well? He's there to be bought. 24 million in today's market is like a packet of peanuts. It's nothing, absolutely nothing. But apparently he'd like to come to United. I'd like him to come to United. I like Antonio Valencia, but I'm about to say something really controversial now. He needs challenging. He needs challenging because Valencia actually is just getting by on being a hard worker. That's basically his game. Positionally, he's not brilliant against the best teams, as we saw in the Super Cup. In Premier League, he's one of the best right backs in the Premier League, but in the top level, he's suspect positionally because he's formerly a right winger. His crossing is abysmal, absolutely abysmal. I love Valencia, but that performance at the weekend was shocking. To have so many opportunities to put a decent cross in the box and he couldn't do it once is shocking for a right back. And I just feel that, Fosu Mensah was never a right back, but if we did sign somebody like Aurier, and Valencia got rested a game, and you saw what a good right back could do going forward, I think a lot of people would open their eyes to Valencia. Valencia was arguably player of the season last year, but I think we're a bit toothless going forward, which surprises me because he never stops getting forward. But there we go. Harry Marlin says, what do you think Mourinho thinks Mahrez would bring to Manchester United? Somebody who can put the cross into the box. Somebody who's creative. Somebody who's a natural winger. The only natural wingers I would say we've got is probably Jesse Lingard, maybe Ashley Young, but Ashley Young's not played there for a long time. We haven't got natural wingers. Rashford and Martial are not really wingers. They're young lads playing on the wing, but they are centre forwards of the future. So Mahrez would be a Premier League proven, Premier League winner, natural winger. And at this late stage, I'd take him. There are other players. I've got to put my hand on my heart because I've said in the past no about Mahrez, but at this late stage I would take him because I think it's that important that we get a winger in. 2 days left. Okay, what I want to do now is just take a few of your comments, if I could, in relation to... let me just answer this one. Ferris Oddy, thanks for the contribution. He says, Bill Rice, who I think works for BBC Manchester, which means next to nothing really, but he has reported that Phil Jones has got an injury. I think we reported that a couple of days ago. I think a lot of you were aware of it. All I can say about Phil Jones in one sentence, Ferris, is this. Could be the best centre-back in Europe. Will never ever be trusted to do that because he can't stay fit. It's not his fault. He's not Daniel Sturridge. He's not somebody who gets a paper cut and he's injured. He will run through brick walls, Phil Jones. Sometimes, stupidly, that's why he gets injured, because he will run through brick walls. But he is just unfortunate in the fact that he's got that sort of body that will always get injuries. And as a centre-back, we may as well just get rid of Phil Jones because, yes, I understand why Mourinho's doing it because he's probably the closest English centre-back there is to John Terry, who Mourinho absolutely worshipped as a footballer. But the problem is a centre-back's got to play 50 games a season. That you build your team around your centre-back partnerships. Phil Jones will be lucky if he plays 10. It's just not enough. It's not enough. Bino says, we don't need Aurier. It will kill Fosu Mensah and well, I'll stop there, Bino, because Fosu Mensah's on loan, so it won't kill Fosu Mensah's career at all. If we don't get a winger, we won't win the league, says David Baratheon. There was a very good tweet that was put out by the United Stand account today. I don't control the United Stand Twitter account, so it wasn't me who said it, and I was swimming in a swimming pool at Centre Parks at the time, so you're not allowed mobile phones in there, but I read it when I got out, and it was something like, you know, if you've ever seen Kermit the Frog, inner self and outer self, and it was outer self, outer Goldbridge saying, we can win the league with this squad. Inner self, we've got no chance unless we buy a winger. And I sort of relate to that, which a lot of people feel at the moment. I think I've predicted we're going to win the league, so I'm not going to move away from that because we don't get a signing, but I'd be a lot more confident if we did sign a winger. I think a lot of people who are talking about Bale now well, you don't need to do anything, I tell you. You can believe what you want to believe, but what I would say is that you don't pull a Gareth Bale bid out. You can't do a Gareth Bale, a Griezmann deal in 2 days. It can't be done. It cannot be done, and it will not be done in relation to Gareth Bale. There's a lot of Bale news apparently, says Richard CR. It can't be done. It won't be done. Mahrez or Lemar or Aurier and play wing-back formation, says Insay Gamer. You can't always get what you want, says Forest Dweller. Very true. We got 4 very good signings. Yes, we need wingers, but we probably also need an attacking midfielder as well as 1 more forward. But I'm grateful with the 4 signings. Good point, Forest Dweller. What I would say to that is Manchester United should be able to provide their manager with the 4 targets that they want in the 4 positions he wants to improve. They failed. They provided him with 3. I was reading a lot of your comments from the lunchtime video, and I think some people took it the wrong way, that I was sort of saying that the club hadn't backed Mourinho when they clearly had, and they have backed him to a certain point, but I think some people were getting confused because Mourinho's obviously come out and said he doesn't blame the club, they've done fantastic for him this season. What part of Mourinho has mentioned countless times on the US tour and before and afterwards that he wanted 4 but he'll settle for 3? He cannot come out and say the club haven't backed me, I wanted 4 signings, I've only got 3, I've not got a natural winger, I don't know, it's going to make it very hard for us to win the league. He'd probably get the sack. This is big business, Manchester United. He cannot say those sort of things. But Mourinho is very clever, and he's fed it out publicly that he wanted 4 and he's only got 3. So, you know, we as fans can say he's not been backed, and he hasn't. Matthew McFadden, thank you for the contribution. You can contribute through the Super Chat option at the bottom by clicking the $sign, but make sure you do leave us a comment. Matthew McFadden says, Valencia's game is 99% pace and power. With his age, those attributes will decline very soon. Due to his poor positioning, he won't have the pace and energy to get back like he did last season. A decline should be expected. Very intelligent comment, Matthew, not just because you contributed to the channel, but a very accurate comment, that the fact that Valencia, I said this a few weeks ago, Valencia actually missed a lot of games towards the end of last season where he was rested. He is getting on a bit. When he loses his pace and his power, I think he becomes pretty suspect as a right back, because positionally he isn't great at the top level because he's a winger, and he doesn't have that crossing ability. I'd say Valencia's probably got 1, maybe 2 years tops at United. We should be looking for a successor. I thought we had enough to splash. We aren't aggressive in the transfer window, says Donald Amiel. I read a comment today actually, and I don't know what a lot of, I tell you what, look, instead of me picking up comments, let me throw a question at you. You give the answer and I will read them out, because I really want to get that tonight. We can't do Skype at the moment till Friday, so I want to sort of ask a question and I want you to give me your honest answer, even if it takes all the characters there, and I'll read out as many as I would like. Wee Lee, would you take Nani back? You know what? Of course I wouldn't take Nani back 2 months ago. 2 days of the transfer window left. Of course I'd take Nani back because he can put a bloody cross in. Of course I would. I would take Nani, I would take Robban, I would take any quality winger just to get us through till next summer, because it's better than nobody. I am dumbfounded by the fact that we've just signed Zlatan back, 6'5". We've got Lukaku, 6'3", who was living off crosses from Barkley last season, and we've got nobody to put a cross in the box. It is poor, absolutely poor. I would keep, you know, I mean, I don't know what's happening with Pereira. I would keep Pereira just for the simple fact that he can put a cross into the box. But the question I was going to throw to you lot is this. I read this from a private group I'm in on Twitter, and this person is he's a lawyer. He's a sports lawyer, and he talks a lot about transfers. He doesn't profess to be an insider on Manchester United, but he works at a university and all that jazz. Professional sports lawyer, and he tweeted out, I think it was today, that the one positive of this transfer window is that Manchester United have shown every other club that they will not be held to ransom. And a lot of people found that positive, and straight away, the minute I'd finished that sentence, you know what I thought? How does that help me? How does that help my Manchester United side progressing? That our owners will not pay the price to bring the players in. It means nothing to me as a football fan that the club I support will not be overcharged in the transfer market. I support a club that's the richest club in the world, that's got millions and millions and millions and millions of pounds that it could spend that's brought in by you, the fans. I'm not interested in if my club that is so rich says, you know what, we're not interested because we're not overpaying. You know why they're not overpaying? It's got nothing to do with the morality of transfer window prices. It's all to do with lining pockets of shareholders. So when I read that comment, I was like, that's just annoying. I would rather have what Man City have, or Chelsea have, or even what Liverpool are doing now. I want a club that's going to spend the money that they have. And that's my thought. Carlos Solas has made a contribution. He says Jose doesn't say he really needs a winger. That statement could undermine squad's confidence, and that's what he wants: confidence, trust, and loyalty. Fantastic comment. Again, you understand. Mourinho cannot come out and say, I need a winger, otherwise the chances of winning this title are very poor. He doesn't want to destroy the morale. What he says is very clever. I don't get why we don't spend the money, says Campak. Go right to the top. Proactive, you mean, Mark, in the transfer window. Thanks, Andrew Ellis. Aubameyang stayed. Yes, Lewis Varga. I don't care what they pay. It's not coming out of my pocket. If we can afford it, go for it, says Michael Walton. It's still positive. Here's Tom Graham. He says it's still positive in showing people who is boss. Might mean nothing for us, but means things for other clubs every year users to manipulate. So he's looking at it from the other way. Suhash says we should be blaming the owners. That should never be the agenda. No, he says we shouldn't be blaming the owners. That should never be the agenda, which means the owners should do their job and back the manager. Liam Gwinney, I'd love Lamar. Crosses with quality and quantity, very skillful and quick. Would be a huge upgrade on Mata on that right side, and he's two-footed so he can go inside and outside. I think that'll be the kick in the teeth, really, for those people who want a winger, is watching Liverpool sign another one when they've already arguably got the two in-form wingers in the league at the moment with Sahar and Mane, and then they're going to add Lamar. It's terrifyingly sad for us when we haven't got any. But Liverpool won't win the league. I'm not jealous of Liverpool. I'm just jealous of the fact that they've got a few wingers. We could use Di Maria. Shah Hossain. I know what's going to happen on the live comments now we've mentioned the name Di Maria, because this is the brilliance of the United Stand live comments. The banter is real. I don't even need to say it. You'll see it in a minute. But Di Maria, you know what? I would never want Di Maria for the reasons that are about to come up on the live comments. But at this very late stage, Di Maria can actually put a cross in. And if you're telling me it's Di Maria or nobody, I probably would take Di Maria. And that will hurt a lot of people. But he can put a cross into the... There we go. There they are. Only one. I'm surprised so far. Ronak's got it. Oh no, we're getting a few more now. Brilliant. I love you lot. You're absolutely brilliant. You're so in tune with this channel now. It's unbelievable. But yeah, look, Di Maria is the snake that you can see going up and down the page now. Totally unscripted. Brilliant. But if it's nobody or Di Maria, actually, I want United to win the title. And if Mourinho felt that Di Maria was worth bringing back to Manchester United, he can put a cross in. It's better than nothing. But he is a snake. He is a snake. And we won't be getting him back anyway, I wouldn't have thought. Although, would it surprise you if Mourinho did it and wanted to do it to show Van Gaal who's the boss? He can put a cross in Abdul Babar, you're right. Would love William Carvalho, he would be majestic. William Carvalho? No, he's just a midfielder. Bring back Memphis, says Liam Murphy. We don't know whether he can put a cross in, do we? We never saw it. He holds onto the ball for too long. Mark, if Mourinho came to United 4 years ago, what players would he bring in? How many trophies do you think we would win? So, excuse me, that's from Shaka. I wanted Mourinho to come to United when Sir Alex Ferguson retired. I wasn't doing the United stand at the time, but I speak a lot about United with my friends, and one of my friends, actually my best man at my wedding, when Moyes was going to get confirmed, I was absolutely furious. I didn't want to sign him, and my mate was like, big United fan, and he was like, you've got to, you know what, you've got to back him. Sir Alex Ferguson thinks he'll be good. You know, we've got to give him time. And I was like, no, it'll be an absolute disgrace. It should be Mourinho. Mourinho basically flirted with us in that quarter-final against Real Madrid. He wants the job. And to this day, I believe Mourinho wanted that job. I know he said, oh, I'd made a decision to go to Chelsea. Nonsense. I think United never really offered it to him. If Mourinho had taken the job over straight after Sir Alex Ferguson, I don't think there would have been a gap. I think we would have won the title again and again and again, and this 4 years that we've endured would never have happened. I think we would have had at least 2 more titles in the last 4 years, potentially a Champions League, but that's the ownership. I'm not positive about Manchester United's ownership. I never have been. I think they got away with it, having Sir Alex Ferguson, who was the best, greatest sports manager ever, but never really backing him as much as the money that was coming in. I think the ownership got it wrong about the replacement. They got it wrong with Van Gaal, and they don't spend anywhere. They don't support our manager anywhere near enough what he should be supported with. But Ferris Oddy says, how come no player is leaving the club? Very good point. That we expected a lot more players to leave United than Rooney and Januzaj, and I would say that again is a result of this transfer window and the fact that we are retaining the Deadwood again because Mourinho's not got enough of the players he wanted to bring in. So it's like I'm pretty sure that Smalling was going to go and may still go, but I'm pretty sure Smalling would have gone. Maybe one of the midfielders would have gone as well, but he's not been able to bring his players in. So you don't get rid of squad depth when you've not brought in the replacements for that squad depth. We've had a contribution here from Jonathan Gorbett. He says, I feel we need a new right wing back who can cross like Luke Shaw and have them play the crosses and track back while Martial and Rashford cut inside. I'd be pretty happy with that. What else have we got? Alex Ferguson let the club down a bit when he gave his pal Moyes a chance. Sentimental to the max. Look, Sir Alex Ferguson is the greatest sports manager there's ever been, Tyrone. That is my statement. But like everything, I love Mourinho, and then some people say you don't love Mourinho because you question him about Fellaini. I don't love my boss. I respect my boss. He makes mistakes. I respect my parents. They've made mistakes. I respect my wife. She makes mistakes. I make mistakes. I don't know. Can you respect yourself? But you know what I mean. Everybody makes mistakes. Sir Alex Ferguson bought Jemba and Cleverson. He bought a lot of bad. He bought Beppe. He made bad mistakes. He made a bad mistake over Moyes. A mistake that many of us looked at and went, that cannot work. How can you give David Moyes the Manchester United job, the champions of England, when he's never beaten anybody in the top 4 away from home? He's never won a title. He's never won anything of any use, and he's got no experience in the Champions League other than getting knocked out in the first round. He was woefully underprepared. He was woefully underqualified, and it was a bad choice by everybody involved in that decision for David Moyes. And I know even to the day, people like Gary Neville felt he should have been given longer. I thought he was given a year too long. He never should have been given the job. And was that his fault? Probably not. Probably not Moyes' fault. Would you turn it down? But the first thing he did when he came in was get rid of the backroom staff. He was just woefully inept, and the club set themselves back probably 3-4 years by that. But Mourinho's sorted it out. He is sorting it out. And the past is gone. We just, it was a bit of a... We got an FA Cup out of it, didn't we? And then Mourinho's won us a cup we've never won before. But Moyes was a bad error. But it just cements my point that no matter how much you respect somebody or how good they are, they will make mistakes. And yeah, Sir Alex, Sir Bobby and everybody else involved in that appointment got it badly wrong. And I don't know how they couldn't see it coming. Brian Price says, sadly, there are not many true wingers who stay wide and cross. It seems like all modern players want to cut inside. And Lukaku the Tank says, after the Pogba signing, I really thought Manchester United was a club that spent as much as it was needed. But this summer transfer window showed me how wrong I was. Well, my theory from that is a few months old now. But if you study our owners, and I do take it back to the owners, I don't blame Mourinho, I don't blame Woodward, I don't blame the players. If we don't win this title, I'll blame the owners for not backing the manager. It's as simple as that. But if you look back through what the Glazers have done, especially in the recent years, when we qualify for the Champions League, they don't really spend that much money. When we haven't qualified for the Champions League and we need to, they'll spend a lot. So last year we were in the Europa League, they spent a lot. 2 years before that, we were in the Europa League, they brought Di Maria in, Falcao, they spent a lot. When we're actually in the Champions League, they don't really want to spend that much money. And you know why? Because they're not football men, they're businessmen. They don't speculate to accumulate. Once they're in a strong position, they recoup their profits that they've put in to get us back where they are. They had to spend the money on Pogba last year and everybody else, because if we didn't qualify for the Champions League this year, that's 2 years out of it. You start to lose your sponsorship money, etc. Now we're in the Champions League, they've almost got a year's grace. It's like, well, let's see what happens with minimal spending this year. And I say minimal spending, I mean, we've still spent nearly £150 million, haven't we? But what I'm saying is we needed to give him the winger that he wanted. Why haven't they done that? Are Arsenal really stupid? They're giving City cash plus player for Sterling at the United Stand, said Jamie. Look, as I've said on every show we've done recently talking about Alexis Sanchez, if Alexis Sanchez goes to Arsenal, if Alexis Sanchez goes to Manchester City, Manchester City should win the league, but Manchester City should win the league anyway based on the players they have and the money they spend. They're outspending us. And they've got some good players, and if they get Alexis Sanchez, who is one of the best players in the Premier League, they should win the Premier League. But they've got Pep Guardiola in charge, and that may hinder them. But regardless of that, if Sanchez goes to City this week, and our owners think Matic, Lukaku and Lindelof are enough, when effectively we've lost Rooney and Zlatan, it's not enough. Lukaku replacing Zlatan and Rooney, I think Lukaku's better than those two because of what he brings to the team, but it's not a massive improvement, is it? 2 players for 1. Lindelof, a centre-back that actually, if Phil Jones stays fit, do we even need him? And then Matic is obviously, Matic has been fantastic, but it's not huge improvement. It's not huge improvement on a team that a lot of people felt were lucky to win the Europa League. We were 1 kick away from going out. And we finished 6th. So, Man City finished above us last season. They played a lot better than us last season in relation to the football they've played. And they've spent well over 250 million. I don't know what our owners expect Mourinho to do. Produce miracles. For me, they haven't backed him enough. And they've got 2 days to make me and everyone else eat our words and prove us wrong. Do you expect it to change? West Ham had to go down, says Evan Nolan. Sanchez doesn't give City the league automatically, not like Alexi to us would, says Shoot Neutrality. I actually agree with you there. I think Sanchez in our team would give us the league. I don't think City he necessarily does because of the manager they have. What will happen to Martial if we sign Mahrez, says Michael Andre? Nothing. If Matic gets injured, we're back to square one, says Edwin Castro. I totally agree with you. I don't think this is one of my things as well. I don't believe we've got fantastic squad depth. We've got a big squad, but we haven't got fantastic squad depth. If you think Lukaku gets injured, so Rashford goes up front, Lingard comes into the team. If Matic gets injured, we go back to Fellaini in the midfield. If Bay gets injured, you've got Smalling at centre back. If Valencia gets injured, who plays at right back? God knows. You know, we've got a good first team, but a couple of injuries to key players, and we are back to square one. But I firmly believe Mourinho, if he was given 300 million quid, he'd spend it, and we would have had 5 or 6 players brought in this year. I think it's just money. And other clubs are having a better transfer window than us at the moment. But we are top of the league, and it's not impossible that we can win the league. And I still back that we will. I just hope we sign somebody in the next 2 days. But I've been a United fan for many years, as I'm sure many of you have. And 2 days off the transfer window and you're not really hearing anything from United, it doesn't bode well. It doesn't bode well. But we live in hope. We live in hope. Thanks everyone for watching. I could do these shows for hours and hours and hours, so thanks everyone who's got involved. Really enjoyed it. Don't forget to drop a like on the video. Don't forget to leave us your comments if you haven't watched live. And subscribe to the channel if you're new, bottom right hand corner. Really good comments tonight as per usual. Loved the snake stuff, you're just brilliant. And Fabinho is still available, Andrew Ellis, you're right. There's a few players that are still available. Ross Barkley's not gone anywhere yet. I mean, I should have thrown that out to you. That there are a number of players that must move in the next 2 days that haven't. Mahrez has made it obvious he wants to leave Leicester. Aubameyang wants to leave Dortmund. Aurier wants to leave PSG. Renato Sanchez wants to leave Bayern Munich. Ross Barkley wants to leave Everton. Sanchez wants to leave Arsenal. As does Oxlade-Chamberlain, who'd probably go to Chelsea. And that's just off the top of my head. These players haven't moved yet, so I think it's going to be an interesting next couple of days. I just don't know whether we're going to be involved. Personally, I would get Aurier, Sanchez and Barkley, and then we'll definitely win the league, because we'd have backup in the midfield, backup at the right back, and we'd have a number 7. And we could do it. You know, the club could just, the owners could just go, there's 200 million, go and do it. It's worth doing it. And, you know, I'm sure City owners would do it. I'm sure Chelsea owners would do it. Will our owners do it? No, it's the same old jazz, isn't it? Could we get Bale, says Riley the Web Red. I'm going to say this because I would love it. I would love to take the L on this, and I would love it to happen in the next 2 days, because I would like Bale at Manchester United, and I would love this to turn into a little gif or whatever. But I can categorically tell you now, we will not sign Gareth Bale before the end of this transfer window in the next 48 hours. It is not going to happen. And if it does, I'm willing to do any forfeiture, because it won't happen. I want it to happen, but it won't. Thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all very soon. And obviously we'll go live if there is any transfer news tonight, as usual. If not, back tomorrow. Probably back tomorrow lunchtime at 1:30, and then again at 8:30. So thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you soon. Goldfinger, he's the man with the Moyes touch.